What are you doing here? I know what you came for.
What have I done now? I came because my father sent me.
David and Goliath, the beginning of a kingdom. In the valley of Elah, it was a morning like many others, dawning wrapped in a thick, cold tension, almost palpable. On one side stood the people of Israel, on the other, the Philistines, and in between, a silence broken every morning and every evening by the same voice. It was Goliath, lurking since dawn.
Choose a man! Just one man! Let him fight me!
His figure was colossal and terrifying. The sun reflected off his bronze armor, blinding anyone who looked at him for too long. His spear looked more like a tree trunk than a weapon, and every time he struck it against the ground, it thundered. In the camp, fear filled the air as they watched Goliath step forward with arrogance and strength. King Saul watched from his tent, his face hardened. But in his eyes, there was doubt. That morning, like many others, a young man who seemed hurried arrived running through the ranks. His tunic was covered in road dust, and he carried a sack over his shoulder. It was David, searching for his brothers to bring them food. His father had sent him to deliver provisions and return with news of them. A soldier pointed toward the battle line where David's brothers were. But it was not a good moment. David did not wait. He hurried and ran toward them just as the battle cry began to rise. A deep sound crossed the valley. Goliath advanced again toward the army of Israel, and as he moved forward, he shouted with force, his voice echoing throughout the valley.
Choose a man! Just one man! Let him fight me!
David looked at him for the first time, as if assessing the enemy, his ability, strength, and size. A nearby soldier replied, "It's Goliath, champion of the Philistines. No one can stand against him." "The king has promised riches," added another, "and the hand of his daughter. But," he shook his head, "no one wants to die today." As David listened, he kept watching, thinking, "And you let him speak like that? Let him defy the living God?" The words began to spread among the soldiers. "The young shepherd says he will face the giant." Soon, the words reached Saul. David arrived at the royal tent. The atmosphere was heavy, filled with uncertainty. Saul observed him carefully from head to toe.
"Are you the one who wants to face Goliath? He is a man of war."
David bowed his head slightly and said, "Yes, my lord. Let no one lose heart. I will go." Saul could hardly believe what he was hearing. David was only a boy. He ordered that David be dressed in his own armor. The helmet fell heavily on David's head, and the breastplate pressed against his chest. David tried to walk with the armor, but it was difficult. He looked clumsy, unable to move properly.
"Go, and may Jehovah be with you. May he protect you."
He left Saul's presence and, as he walked, went down to a stream. His fingers touched the cold water as he searched for stones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He took 5 stones, placed them in his pouch, and took a deep breath. Dust rose beneath the giant's heavy steps, and every creak of his armor echoed like a sound of death. The Philistine advanced, and the people drew back. On the other side, David stood firm, ready for battle. He was alone, a boy facing a legend of war. Goliath laughed when he saw David and said,
Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks? Come to me!
David remained silent at first. His fingers tightened around the sling, and his gaze did not leave the giant. "You've been sent to die," Goliath said. "You don't even carry a sword." Goliath narrowed his eyes and cursed David by his gods. Silence fell like a blow. Even the wind seemed to stop. It was clear that David's words had offended the champion, and Goliath gripped his spear more tightly. His hatred grew as he said again,
Come to me!
The Israelite soldiers looked at one another, unable to believe what they were hearing. "I will defeat you," David continued, "and all the earth will know that there is a God in Israel." Goliath roared, a brutal sound filled with fury. "Enough!" He raised his spear and began to move faster. "I will crush you, boy!" David did not retreat. As he advanced, he said, "The Lord does not save with sword or spear." He reached into his pouch and took one of the 5 stones he had gathered from the stream. David swung the sling to launch the first stone at the giant. Once, twice, 3 times. The stone struck the giant in the forehead, right at the center. Goliath's eyes opened wide, and he fell. The giant whom many feared had been brought down. David stood still for a moment, looking at the immense body before him. Then the boy reacted. He ran toward the fallen giant, bent down, and took Goliath's sword. He raised it, and with a restrained cry, delivered the final blow. The echo of steel rang through the valley, and when he lifted the giant's head, everything changed. The Philistines retreated, first one step, then another. The fear that had paralyzed Israel for 40 days now consumed them. "Run!" shouted one of their captains, and they fled. The army of Israel advanced with restrained fury and pursued them until they were completely defeated. Thus the Lord gave victory to David with a simple sling and a stone, bringing down the giant Goliath with unshakable faith. David and Goliath, the beginning of a kingdom.